All right, this iteration of MSP MSP Growth Kit Unplugged. It's not a pit, I promise. Although if you don't do this, maybe you'll find yourself. No, that's not what I meant. Anyway, so Unplugged, that's the whole point. So what we want to talk about now is believe in your standards. And as one of our previous sessions, Unplugged, we talked about is like define them. That's the first step. But once you define them, believe in them. So Steve, I know that you've learned some lessons through some pain about why you need to believe in your standards, or client interactions that you've had that like reinforce this message. So tell us about that. What's your story?
Oh, yeah. So this one would have been a pit if we had engaged, no question. This happened last year, so this one's really fresh with me. But we had one of our non-standard, like a vendor that we had never done business with. I was familiar with them, quite frankly, because they were hitting my Facebook feed of all weird things.
Hmm.
And I get this weird call from one
Soups
of their sales
Pops.
reps. What's that?
I said Soups Pops.
Yeah. And so And so I get this call going like, "Hey, we got one of your customers here that wants to buy our stuff. It's, $200,000 worth of product. You're going to make 40 points on this. We're going to kill it. Really, we don't do direct, so all I need you to do is like become a partner, and they'll buy from you, and away we go." Which,
So you had a
first of
vendor.
all,
You had a vendor that came. So one of the vendors,
been
manufacturer, came to you and said, "We've got
with
this."
with one of our customers, right?
Wow.
Like with
Okay.
that they're coming to the table. And just be clear, I hadn't quantified this. And so, right, so we're talking about like 80 grand in margin to close a deal that was supposed to, right? And so like my gut was like 80 grand in margin. Okay, right? Like, okay. Here's the end of the story was we ended up calling the customer like, yeah, I kind of told them that I'd interested, but they shipped me a bunch of free stuff. And like I said yes to the free stuff. By the way, the free stuff they sent me isn't working quite like I thought. Do you guys have a solution for this? Yeah, we do. And so it was competitive to a product line we already had. And so, like being careful about accepting those facts as facts, like,
Mm.
had they talked to the customer? Absolutely. Did they have a solution they could sell the customer? Absolutely. And we educated the customer that we had these solutions to sell to them? No, we had not. And we ended up selling across that. And what I've come to find out also is that this vendor was really hot in our market for about 6 months. And
Hmm.
since then, I haven't heard squat from them. So be careful on going outside of your, standardized solution vendor partners, knowing what your vendor partner program was, because guess what? They were also bringing another 3 partners into the same deal, not how we
Wow.
do business.
Yeah. That like that. What that reminds me of, Steve, we have this concept, and that my story is similar, but a different vein of it, is that we specifically work to, and we've defined internally what we mean by MSP ready products, right? There are some
Yeah.
vendors, and it's about the manageability of the product, the quality of the product, about the vendor partnership, the sales side, the training available. It's all these things, the billing, because if it's not a product that fits the way we have to engage and operate with our clients, it creates so much operational pain. It's not worth it. And
Yep.
sometimes if you haven't had the chance to do the due diligence on a product like that, or if it's a product that you're only going to sell one time, and so now you have to train your whole team on supporting a product that's only in one client's office. And that was exactly our story, except it came from, instead of coming from a vendor like yours did, it came from a customer that I think it was we think either we won the client and hadn't done some due diligence, or we were trying to win the client. And he had a random, I'm not going to name the brand of the firewall, but it was like a very barely above consumer grade firewall. And his pitch to us was, and we were trying to say, look, you need to standardize on our firewall stack because all of our engineers are trained on it, all of our management tools work with it, all these kind of things. And he would say, well, no, but I want to give your team the opportunity to learn how to support a different product. We're going to expand their skills by allowing them to support a new tool. I'm like, well, okay, I get that on one hand, and I understand why he didn't want to buy another firewall, but we're not like, that would be one product in one client's office that we would never sell or support anywhere else. and it would, it creates risk in our operations because our team doesn't know it. And even if we train engineers on it, there's turnover. Like, who knows how the tools are going to work with it? Blah blah blah. All et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So it's definitely, you need to believe in your standards and have a process and a method. So define them, but have a process and a method to evaluate them. And once they've checked all those boxes, like, it can give you a lot of belief and confidence in them to stick with them.
Yeah.
Right. So very good. Unplugged. That's an excellent story, Steve. That's that doesn't happen that way usually, but that's a good example of something to look out for too.
Awesome.